The following is a presentation of the Missouri Sports Network.
Hey, welcome to the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Certainly glad you tuned in, coming to you live from the Pizza Ranch studio, presented by Central Bank of the Ozarks. Pleased to be joined now by Central Methodist women's head basketball coach, Mike Davis, 24-0 on the season. Coach Davis, thanks so much for your time today.
Guy, appreciate you having me on. And hey, it's basketball season, favorite time of the year. So love talking basketball.
Coach, before we talk a little bit about this year's team, just talk about, if you could, just your history there with Central Methodist. A tremendous record. I mean, 31-6 a year ago, 2 years ago, 31-2. Where'd you go to high school and kind of college and cut your teeth, and tell us how you arrived at Central Methodist?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I was raised along Franklin, Missouri, so my home was probably about 5 to 6 miles from campus here at Sagat. So fortunate to play for Bob Graves there at New Franklin. Had a great time. Area Community College, played for Lee Carricker and John Cochran there. Just two great fellows in education and basketball and life, going and being a Greyhound. Went from there and finished up at Methodist University playing. And I got my degree, played with some great ball players here, and just a really good situation for me as I was growing up and enjoyed it. Started out coaching actually years and years ago, and then went over to the women's side. And I don't know, I coached here for 12 or 13 years, had some great players in, lots of local kids at that time. Then I went down to Columbia College there, and we were very, very fortunate to have some great teams. And then I've been back here at Central Methodist. I guess this is back home. And if you look on the wall, there's a picture of my grandmother who played basketball here in 1919 to 19. So we have a few roots and a little bit of ties to Central Methodist.
Outstanding, and that's just a tremendous history there, and your ability to stay there and be such an important person there in that community, that athletic community. It's got to really make you feel tremendous, and also having that background and that local feel.
It's kind of interesting. My son went to school here, played football. Fantastic school, of course. We're very familiar with it, and yet it's kind of amazing. We have young ladies from very, very near, young ladies from all over the country. So our team is very diverse in that way, and not just made all over.
Hey, Coach, talk about this year's team. 24-0 on the season right now, 18-0 in the conference. You're obviously still the top of the conference, coming off of a 31-6 season from a year ago. What did you have to replace, from that team a year ago that you lost to graduation or, moving on or something like that? But what did you have to replace, and who are some of the young ladies that are filling those roles?
Well, last year, fantastic year for our team, and yet at the same time, we're dealing with COVID. COVID should be a 4-letter word. They should respell it and put 4 letters into it. We had to forfeit 2 ball games. 2 of our 6 losses were forfeits due to us not having enough players at that time for COVID. We had 2 other games where we had one with 6 players due to COVID. So it was a team that really wasn't able to get completely healthy and rolling until the 4 run in our national tournament. We lost to the eventual national champion, Thomas More. We lost an All-American point guard who was very good, and another starter who wasn't with us. And then another young lady that actually started over maybe a third to half of our ball game. So great news, and they really gained a lot of experience last year in that Fab 4 run. But the other thing, I think, and they had an idea of where they wanted to get back to and beyond. So I think that's probably catapulted anything.
Coach, you're in the midst of the middle of a 3-game home set here. You took on Evangel last night. You've got Mount Mercy coming in and then Baker, and then maybe just have to go on the road one more time before the national tournament because you'll be the top seed in the Heart of America tournament. Talk about what that means to be able to be at home during this time, as you head into the Heart of America tournament.
Being at home is great. That's part of your promo and your ad. The home court advantage. Those people that haven't been here is a very, very unique, high tradition facility. And if you enjoy the history of basketball, you love coming to a place like Bucket Fieldhouse. And we're playing here. We have some great fans, and they've been very, very special here at Bucket Fieldhouse so far. Huge plus for us as we finish up. We have 4 games left in our regular season. 3 of those are at home. Kind of balancing out right now with our home games, and it's a great way to finish up before our conference tournament.
And looking at those 3 games that you have remaining here at home, you've got Baker, then you go on the road. You've got Mount Mercy, then Baker, then on the road at Clark, and then you finish up with William Penn. Right now, who would you think that you're going to face there on the 22nd there in that opening round of the Heart of America tournament?
We're not even worried about that. Who cares? The only thing we're worried about is my greatest gift is I'm not smart enough to look too far in the future. And really, as a coach, and this team has done a great job of that all year long. We're just worried about Mount Mercy. There's sites that we're preparing for all year long, but that next game is the most important one of the year. I'll give you some coach speak. Concentrating on.
Coach, what are some things you feel like you're doing really well right now at this point of the season? Obviously, you're 90% through the regular season. What are some things you feel as a team that you're doing really well? Maybe what are some things that you feel like, hey, maybe we need to tighten this up if we're going to make a deep run?
We've got some kids that can play basketball. That's the best thing we do. Some young ladies with us. This is their 3rd year. Nana Massanet and Leah Johnson, 2 young ladies out of Nana came in here as a leading scorer in the state of New Jersey out of high school, and is really a player for us. Leah Johnson redshirted 1 year at Rider University, 6'3" girl who gives us great size. She's averaging a double-double, about 14. And those 2 young ladies give us a great in-out scoring punch and just basketball knowledge. Young lady from Belarus, 6'1" shooter, who's averaging 17 a ball. Korova is a young lady who really is a complete player, but a great shooter, gives us that outside. I think when you start looking at who we are, you have to talk about players. We have a transfer into us, a really unique cook, is a young lady out of Marietta, Georgia, who went to Georgia Tech right out of high school, one of the better, and then went into the military, served in our military for 4 years. And then we have her in here with us, the best defensive player I've ever coached. And a young lady who really does things the right way. Has been some of our team. And then our last starter is a young lady who's been with us. This is her 2nd year, but a girl out of J.C. Kennedy, who's just a big motor, big personality, great pieces that fit really nice. And I think if there's a plus to us, we've had really a good fit. Our bench is just the same way. Really good fits. Are there things we need to get better at? You bet. Shooting day away from your season ending, when you get to the end. So that's a worry that we all have, and you happen to you.
Very good. Well, again, we're visiting with Central Methodist women's head basketball coach, Coach Davis. And Coach Davis, real quickly, in your time, what's maybe been some of the biggest changes that you've had to deal with since maybe when you started coaching until now? And I know, I don't know how the NIL affects you or the transfer portal or anything like that, but what are some of the biggest changes you've had, challenges and changes that you've had to face?
Well, we started with peach baskets. That's what our players think. I'm that old. Coach, did you play with peach baskets or things? What buildings were here when I was here at that time? So are there changes? Sure, there are changes. Right now, the three-point line is such a major part of all the game in different ways. So you don't give up that three-point shot. I think that's changed the game as much as anything. NIL doesn't affect us a great deal at this level. I'm not saying it doesn't some, but it's not the way it done level. And really, I'm glad it doesn't affect us to that degree. I think if there's that I would say I worry about or issues or things, I think a lot of people, and there being a lot of transfers, I think in my mind, it's just something we deal with a lot with transfers. So it's not a negative to us at all. But, basketball is still basketball. You guard people, you got to rebound. And normally, if you're the aggressor, if you're the one being chased, hey, you're probably going to lose that basketball game.
Outstanding. Well, Coach, I greatly appreciate you being generous with your time. I know it's extremely busy time of the year here as you're heading into wrapping up the regular season, heading into the conference tournament. But I really appreciate you being part of the Missouri Sports Network show today.
Hey, I grew up in the state of Missouri. I think it's a wonderful place to talk about athletics and sports. What a fantastic area we're all in. To have great sports ranks all around us. Chiefs getting ready to play for a Super Bowl. Our Missouri Tigers are back playing states. Southwest Missouri's had such fantastic basketball for years, especially even on the women. We're fortunate to be here, and what you guys do to promote it's fantastic. We appreciate you taking the time to visit.
You bet. Coach Mike Davis, Central Methodist women's head basketball coach here on the Missouri Sports Network. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow.